is the last question, question 7. So the car rental agency charges $28 per day to rent the car, $14.95 per day for global positioning, and charge you for a full tank of gas for $3.50 per gallon. 17-gallon tank. Find out a function for this. So, guys, I want to kind of walk through this so you can help me answer these questions that I ask kind of periodically. So, first thing we're going to do is determine what our variables are going to be. Okay? They tell us that we have to base this off of, it says in Part A, write a function rule for the total bill B as a function of the days D. So B and D have to be my variables. Does that make sense? B represents the bill. D represents the days. Okay? Now I want to think about which one of those is dependent and which one of those is independent. Which one of those is the dependent variable? Okay, why is that the dependent variable? Okay, so the bill is going to change based on how many days I rent it, right? So the bill is dependent, and the days is the independent. Okay, I think that's important for us to recognize. Okay, now the next thing we're going to look at here is actually writing the formula, okay, the function. But if we know that B is the dependent, that means B is going to be by itself on the left-hand side of the equation, okay? Now, everything else that we write on the right-hand side is going to incorporate either constants that we add or subtract, and then variable terms that we have like coefficients for, okay? Right now, everything that we do is going to be linear, so those are the structures. You're going to have some number times D plus or minus some other number. That's what the structure of pretty much all of these formulas are going to look like, okay? Now, in regards to getting to that, we might be a little bit more kind of detailed. And what I mean by that is if I go sentence by sentence here, or statement by statement, it says I'm going to make $28 per day. Or I'm going to pay $28 per day to rent the car, right? So if I just go, let's say, day 1 here, it's going to be $28, right? If I go day 2, it's going to be 28 plus 28, correct? And this is something we've been working on, hopefully recognizing in other sections. If I go day 3, okay, now I have 28 plus 28 plus 28, right? Does the number of 28s that I add together have a relationship to the number of days that I'm currently renting the car for? Yeah. So can I, if my number of days is called D, can I rewrite this 28 or 28 plus 28 or 28 plus 28 plus 28? Can I rewrite that as 28 times D? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So that would be the situation if I were renting this car and then I don't have to pay them for gas and I don't have a GPS in the system. It's usually $28 a day, and that's a very simple function, right? Okay. However, we are going to rent a GPS, okay? And the GPS is also based off of a per day idea, right? So $14.95 per day. So in day 1, we would have 28 plus then 14.95, right? Does that make sense? But in day 2, wouldn't you have another 14.95? Does that make sense to everybody? Day 3, would you have another 14.95? So how is this 14.95? How many of them I have based off of the number of days I'm renting? They're the same, right? Okay, if I'm on day 3, I have 3 14.95s to pay. I'm on day 10, I have 14.95 to pay. So what we want to do is, so we can add all those together, but doesn't this make sense? Rewrite that as 14.95 times D. Yep. Okay, so that first 28D is just the rental fee for the car. The 14.95 is the rental fee for the device. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have to pay for them to give me gas on the first day. It's $3.50 per gallon. Okay. Do I pay that every day? Do they come to my house or out on my trip every day and fill me up? No, it's a one-time payment, right? So the amount of gas or the price that I pay for this gas is dependent on nothing else. It's a constant. I'm just going to pay it the first time, and then every time I need to fill up, then it's on me. Okay? So I need to add to this then the $3.50 per how many gallons that I'm going to purchase. Okay? So 3.5 times 17 is 59.5. So I'm going to rewrite that as 59.5. That make sense? Plus then, are these like terms? So can I add those together? 42.95, good. So would you agree that, would you agree that that bill then could be rewritten as 42.95 times D plus 59.5? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so I want to show you something here, and you don't have to really understand how to do this, but I want to show you, like when I go to the cash register or the person working behind the counter at this facility, and I tell them I'm going to rent this car for 13 days, give me a total. This is how they do that, okay? They've got something that is written in here, so they'll say, let's go, I'll just put days rented, okay? They'll say, like they'll have something for like, I'll just say gas tank gallons, okay? And then maybe they'll have something here that says current price of gas, and that's something they can change daily, okay? Let's see here, Control B, okay. And what's going to happen here is that these things are going to be values that we can type in, okay? So I'm going to change these colors here and make one of them orange. Let's make this one blue, okay? So then they come down here and they write an equation, okay? We just said our equation is going to be equal to, and maybe we do this. Maybe we say, let me get rid of it, the car price, okay? So let's think about what's going on here. So the car price, ours was 28, right? But understand how like these businesses work. Like Enterprise, you guys know where Enterprise is out on like Northwest Street? Okay. Out by like Chiefs and stuff like that. Northwest. Yeah, there's one over there I think too. So those places have more than one car, right? And they're different types of cars. So if I go there and rent like an F-250, that's going to be probably pricier than me going and renting maybe a Honda Civic. Okay. So what they'll have is some type of program built this way to where they will have the price of a car. So our price of our car was $28, right? Okay, per day. Gas was at $3.50. Okay, and gallons of gas was 17 for our car, right? And I'm going to rent it for, let's just say, 10 days. So let's think about the equation that we just wrote. We said our equation was equal to, okay, now it was the, we had our, let's say we have accessories here. So that was our GPS, right? So that was what, $14.95? Okay. So our equation would have been the car price, which was 28, times the number of days, right? Plus then, okay, the 14.95 times the number of days, right? Plus then the price of gas times the number of gallons, right? Okay. So now I'm just typing in right now what our specific scenario was, but this is how we program, like computer programs, to tell us what the total is based on different criteria. These are all variables. So let's say a different car would be like $35. Maybe tomorrow, price of gas goes down to $3.40. Maybe in this different car, I have a gas tank of 20 gallons. And maybe then I rent it for 30 days. Those prices would change, right? And those people don't want to sit there and do the algebra for each one of these. So what they do is they write this here, and they say, okay, 28 is actually whatever's going to be in this box right here. Whatever somebody types in that box right there, and that box, if we look at this for Excel, is called D, and it goes over here to 2. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to type in D2. You see how I highlighted that box? So it's going to put that 28 there, okay? Now, number of days, that D right there is called A2, okay? Plus then 14.95, that was E2, times the number of days. Days, again, was A2. Now, this 3.5 number, that's C2. Does that really kind of make sense what's going on here? And then the 17 is B2. Okay? Now, if I hit enter, it's going to tell me the amount that it cost me to rent this car for 10 days. But now, I think the question that I was being asked was, what is it going to cost me to rent it for 5 days? So I put 5 in there for days. Does that make sense? Okay? So here's the thing. Let's say that I want to go, so this is what would happen. Like you guys have signed out for my room, right? And you got that little drop-down window here that says I can change the car prices, right? Okay? Let me do this real quick. Let's go. This is how this works. Let's say we start at 10, 11, 12. Do something like that, and I'm going to now data. Where's the format cells? Wow, where'd it go? Well, I can't find it. There we go. Well, it takes, like, I hate because I'm looking for data validation, but it's this picture right here. So this is what I want. Settings. Well, it's changed. I don't know. Well, regardless, okay. So you know, on my drop down windows over there, and I just got to remember what buttons to click here to get that to show up. But it will show, when you click that arrow, it shows you a different place to go or a different teacher to go to, right? So all that stuff is on another page that's hidden. So I was trying to get this to show that, and I could click on that, and it would show me, 28, 29, 30, and usually what those will have in like an enterprise, it would be the model of the car. So maybe I want to, type in Honda Civic or whatever, and then it'll push that button, but behind that will be a number like 28. Does that make sense? Okay. So what happens is I can change, maybe gallons of gas. Maybe I got a 20-gallon gas tank. Maybe gas goes down to $2.40 or $2.39, and then the car price is, $19, but maybe I don't have any accessories. And it instantly, just by plugging that information in, tells me the cost for renting that for 5 days. Does that make sense? Okay. Have you guys ever got on your phone and look for a conversion calculator?
No.
Or you ever been? So does your phone have a tip calculator on it?
I don't think my flip phone has that.
Well, I just find it hard that you need a phone. Well, who's going to want to talk to you?
Oh! Dang. Look at it.
No response? Okay, so that's those things. If you looked at it, every smartphone usually comes with a tip calculator. You type in what your cost is. You type in what the meal or the tip is going to be, and then it tells you how much to leave. Right? Okay. That is done using something like some type of programming, kind of like what we've done here. Okay. So my thought is, my argument showing you that is I want you guys to realize that whether you use the math or not, the things that we use technology-wise are programmed with the math that we're learning at the 9th grade level. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's how you would answer that question. Obviously, then we could then obviously instead of using that Excel program, you can put 5 right there, evaluate, and see what you get up with or come up with. Now, here's my question. What is more useful? What is more useful? Not necessarily knowing, I don't think, that formula, but here's the question. Let's say that I have $800 to my name. Okay? Let's say I have $800. Or let's just say I have $800 that I can dedicate to renting a car. Does that make sense? Okay? So I've budgeted $800. Okay? Could I put $800 right here?
No.
And then have 42.95D plus 59.5. Can you solve for D? And if I solve for D, what is that going to tell me? What is that number going to represent? How many days I can rent the car for $800, right? So if I take $800, let's see here. Take my $800 minus, okay? Now, okay, it's going to be, what was it 59.5? 59.5. Okay? And then we'll divide that amount by the 49.5 number, and it's going to tell me that I can rent this car for almost 15 total days. Does that make sense? Okay? Now, if you're renting a car for 15 days and it costs you $800,
It's a little pricey.
it's a little pricey. You better go buy a car because so that's what? That's going to be for an entire month. That's going to cost you $1,600. That's like a nice house payment. Okay, so probably don't want to rent a car for that. Okay, but does the process make sense? Okay, remember, one of my goals for us is not necessarily just to be able to do the math, but to understand where that math shows up in our lives and how it impacts us, okay? And how maybe then you can use that on your own at some other point. Let's do this example. We've got it says the load L in pounds of a wheelbarrow is the sum of its own 42-pound weight and the weight of the bricks that it carries, okay? So load, which is your total weight, right? Okay. And then I have bricks. Okay. Which one of those depends on the other? Does weight depend on the amount of bricks, or does bricks depend on the amount of weight? Okay, so this is my dependent variable, and this is my independent. Okay? We cool with that? Okay. So now, it says load is, okay, and that should make sense because we said that our dependent variable should be by itself, right? Okay, and that's what we're saying. Load is, now it says the sum, so what's sum mean? Add, right? Okay, it does mean total, but more specifically, it's a total created through addition. So, what am I going to be adding? It says its own weight, 42 pounds, and the weight of the bricks it carries. Okay? So I need to add to it the amount of bricks I have, right? Well, how much does each brick weigh? 4 pounds. So if I have one brick, well, let's do this. If I have 0 bricks, it's plus 0, right? If I have one brick, it's plus 4. If I have 2 bricks, it's plus 4 plus 4, or 8. If I have 3 bricks, it's 4 plus 4 plus 4. So that's the part that's changing, right? The 4 part, the plus 4 part, is changing per how many bricks we have. So does it make sense to put a B right there?
Yeah.
Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. And now you can determine certain things. Let's say that I know my own strength, and let's say that I am only capable of lifting or pushing 100 pounds. Would that tell me, or maybe my wheelbarrow, maybe the wheel has a particular rating that says it can only hold 100 pounds, and otherwise it's going to pop, okay, or something like that, okay? Or maybe you found out, if you've ever done this, you've ever put a wheelbarrow and made it too heavy, it's really hard to push, right? Okay? Now, it's made a simple machine, so it's allowing us to kind of eliminate a little bit of work, but there might be ratings that says the normal person's not going to be able to push something that when you load it above 100, okay, 100 pounds. So could this tell me then how many bricks I'm allowed to put in there? Okay. Can I subtract 42 from both sides? And that would give me 58, right? Okay. So now if I take 58 divided by 4, goes in one time, what am I left with? 18. So how many times is that 4 going to go in 18? 4. And that gives me 16, right? With a remainder of 2? So that means I can have, I can't go, let's say we can't go half bricks, so, let's see, if I can't push 100, if I round out to 15, doesn't that mean I'm going to have over 100 pounds? Because I rounded it up, so I want to go to 14. If I've got to look, so if it wasn't based on what my capacity, what my capabilities were, then we'd debate whether I round up or round down. But if I can't push more than 100 pounds, and I round that up, then basically what's going to happen is I'm going to add essentially 2 pounds. I'm going to add an extra brick, right? So it'd be 102 pounds, in which maybe I can't push that. All right, are we cool with that idea?
Yeah.
And that guys, that's going to be one of the main practices that we do with functions. Is one, we write the equation, but then 2, find out specific cases, specific scenarios for what certain variables have to be. Okay? So let's just do this last one. So you go to dinner, you're going to buy a meal, okay? And it says you decide to leave a 15% tip, okay? I think this is an appropriate question because this is what we do. But a lot of times you go to a meal, you might have like $100 in your pocket or whatever, okay? And let's say if you're with like a party of more than 6, what do they automatically do on a
Put the table.
well, not what is, and it doesn't matter whether they split the bill or not, but because your party is big, what they're going to, and it's one person, right, working your table, being your waitress or waiter or whatever, they're going to say, because it's a hard job for that person to get 6 people's meals and serve these 6 people, make sure that they're happy, that we're afraid that if Travis is responsible for the bill and Travis is cheapskate, that our waitress is not going to get paid to do this big job. Does that make sense? So what do they automatically do with big parties? They build in the tip. They have to tax you. That's state law. But they will build in the tip. At the bottom of the tip, it'll say gratuity. Okay? It'll say you automatically are paying 15% as a tip to this person. And that protects the waitress. Keep spitting. That protects the waitress. You're lucky.
I'm lucky.
Yeah. So that protects the waitress from somebody being, obviously them having to do a tough job and then not getting paid for it, right? Okay. So they build that in. So let's just say that they build the 15% in, that you have to pay this. So if I go, so if I know that that's happening, and you should know that because most companies do that, most restaurants do that with a large party, and you got $100, or in this case $55, that limits what you can order, doesn't it? You can't order something at $55. Even though tax, you said they tax you, okay? Even if they do that, you have to understand, I can't buy a $55 object on that menu because based on tax then, I'm going to be over my limit, right? Okay? If we look at this idea, it says you had a $55 when you entered the restaurant. It says make a table showing how much money you would have left after buying a meal that costs $15, $21, $24, $30. Okay? So it's the money left over. Okay? If I come down here and says, I'm actually going to do this one here down the bottom first because that's easier to write my table. It says write a function rule for the amount of money, M, that you would have left over. So M is our leftover money, if the meal costs $C. So CM says cost of the meal. Okay? Which one of those is dependent? The leftover money. The amount of money that I have left over depends on how much my meal costs, right? So this is dependent, and this is independent. Again, why are we worried about that? Is because the dependent is going to be written by itself. M is equal to now, and now I have to read through the problem, okay? I start with $55, right? So M is the leftover money. We want to know how much money I have left over. Well, that means I have to have a total that I started with. And if we're thinking about leftovers, what are we going to start doing to that 55? Are we going to be adding to that or subtracting from that? Subtracting. Okay, so if I have $55 in my pocket and I go order something, now I'm starting to subtract money away from that 55 that I have available to order other things, right? So I'm going to remove from this 55. I'm going to remove from it the cost of my meal, right? Does that make sense? I'm going to remove from it the cost of my meal. So if my meal is $20, 55 minus 20, right? And if I'm a cheapo, then I'm leaving that building with $35 in my pocket. Okay? But I should tip this person, right? They're going to build this in. So the tip is dependent on how much your meal costs, right? So my tip of 15%, which is 0.15, gets multiplied by the cost of your meal. Does that make sense? Is that all right with everybody? You know why they do that way? Why it's not like a flat fee? Okay. Well, let's say if I go into, let's say I go into like Texas Roadhouse, and I sit down and they got a flat tip. They say you're gonna tip $15 no matter what. But I ordered like a $6 appetizer, and that's it.
Entree.
Well, I bought $6 worth of food, but I paid $21 for it. That's kind of silly, right? Okay. I should, because for the waitress to bring me out an appetizer and basically be done with me, that wasn't a very hard job for her, right? Okay. But if I go into Applebee's or Texas Roadhouse or whatever, and I sit there and I order appetizer after appetizer after appetizer, entree after entree, yeah, and then dessert after dessert, okay? He pointed to my stomach and said, that's where that comes from. Okay. So when I do that, am I making that a hard job for that person?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they should be benefited from that, right? The amount that they earn off that should be proportional to the work that they put in to keep me happy. So That's why they use a percentage off of the actual cost of your meal. The larger the cost of your meal, probably the more effort in getting it to you and making you happy with it, right? What can I do with these two numbers? Okay, so it's going to turn into what? What's negative 1 minus 0.15? Negative 1.15, right? Does that make sense, everybody? If you're down $1 and somebody takes 15 cents away from you, aren't you down $1.15? Yeah. Okay, so that's what we're talking about there. Okay. Now times C, right? That's my function. That is my function right now for this situation. Now, what they want you to do is write a table for certain situations. They want you to figure out how much money do you have left over.
Wait.
Okay, so this is, I'm just going to put in, I think M is kind of maybe a bad letter to use to refer to leftover. So money left over based on the cost of my meal. If we go up to the top, there were 4 prices, 15, 21, 24, and was it 30? Yeah. So those are the 4 costs that I'm going to be interested in for my meals. Okay. Now, how do I fill in the column on the right? How do I fill in M there with those 3 or those 4 meals? Okay, so I'm going to plug these numbers in right there. What I want you guys to do, I want to show you how to use your calculator efficiently. Okay. So it doesn't matter, guys, whether you use a TI-83 or 84, one of these big, fat, chunky calculators that I've got back here, or you use one of my red ones, or your blue and gray ones that you guys have, or Desmos. So I'm going to try to show you on Desmos, and it's the same type of way that you would do on any of those other calculators. But you're going to type in your function. So my function was 55 minus 1.15 times C, right? Okay? Now, your calculators aren't going to have letters on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put parentheses there that will be in place for what C is. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay? And now what I'm going to do, so this is what I would have you type that in, and now I'm going to go and hit 15 right there. Okay? And you guys are going to have to hit enter for your calculator to evaluate that. So now I'm going to write down that number, record that 37.75. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do, and you guys should be able to do, so here's the idea. I don't want to type that in again. It's not that terrible to type in, but I don't want to. Does that make sense? Most of your calculators will allow you to go back up with your arrow key, okay, and grab that equation and just go in here and replace that 15 with 21. You can delete the 15 out, put 21 in, and now you see Desmos is automatically evaluating that to 30.85. Okay. Then I'm going to go here and take the 21 out, put 24 in. So it gives me 27.4. And then if I put 30 in, it's 20.5. Does it make sense? Is that all right with everybody? Okay. We can also figure this out. If I know that I've got $55, it's a 15% gratuity, I can think about, okay, well, how much am I allowed to spend? How much, when I look at the menu, okay, what prices am I allowed to look at? I can't look at 55 because it's 15%, right? Okay. If we set this thing equal to 0 and say I want to have $0 left over, can I go 55 minus 1.15C and solve that for C? If I do that, I have negative 55 divided by negative 1.15. It tells me the largest amount that I can order off the menu if there are no taxes here. So maybe I'm ordering this to go, right? You guys know that they don't consumable goods, if you order to go, that they don't tax you. You know why they have you go to McDonald's and you ask them, they say you want to eat it here or you want to take it to go? They ask you that not because of how they want to package it, it's because that's if you eat it there, it's a service that they're providing you so they can tax that service. Okay. They're providing you shelter and seating to sit and eat. Now it's like unethical to people do this. It's unethical to say I'm going to take it to go, get it in bags, and go sit down and eat, right? Because you just cheap them out. But it tells me here I can't order anything off the menu that's more than 47.83 cents. Okay? If I order something more than that, then I'm going to have to stick around and do dishes or something. Does that make sense?
So what if you tell them that it's to go and then you gut it out?
They get upset about that. Sometimes, like I've seen people do that and then they've been asked to leave.
What are you talking about, dog? Go get it. No.
Okay, so let's grasp this. That's the next question here.
What if they don't ask? Sometimes they don't ask, and then they have that part of the cash show. Sometimes they don't have to go. Sometimes they can't pay for it unless they ask. Whichever ticket.
All right, so if I go 5, 10, I think using intervals of 5 on my x-axis kind of makes sense. Because look at my x-axis is actually going to be my c-axis for cost. Does it make sense that I should go by 5s based on these numbers? Now, if you want to go by 10s, you want to go by 2s, you want to go by 3s, that's an option for you. It doesn't matter. Okay. Now my y-axis, okay, my largest value right now is 37.75, and my smallest is 20.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at 15. And I'm going to go up by 5s. So 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. I hope we're paying attention, guys. We paying attention? Everybody? Okay. So why do I put that little thing right there? You guys remember why? So how big is that? How many values are inside that yellow right now? Okay, so between 0 and 15, not including 15, right? Okay, so 15 below. So let's just say 15, a distance of 15. What's this distance here? 5, right? Okay, so because that one's a larger distance, but I'm using the same length, I'm going to tell everybody that that's a little bit different. So I put that little break there. Hello? Yes, I will. Yep. Right. Take your stuff. They said Mrs. Frucci in the office want to see you. I don't know. She's the one on the right. Huh? Because if it's not 14 and below, what about 14.5? Right? So it's actually 14.999999999 forever below. So now that I've got this set up, do I have room to plot all of these things? So like 15, kind of 37.75. Now I kind of got to guess where that's at, right? That would be 37.5 right there. So maybe that point. 21 as an x value is maybe right there. A y value of 30.85, and it's just above 30, so maybe there. 24 is right before 25. So 27.5 would be right there, so 27.4 just below it. And then 30 is at 20.5, so maybe about right there. Do those points make sense for us? What kind of shape, if I connect those, do those points create? They create a straight line, okay? So if they create a straight line and I start connecting them, okay, now here's my question. Out here, it's going to cross right there, that c-axis. Does that make sense? So that will be when I have $0 left over. Would you guys agree with that? This is my m-axis. When m is 0, that point right there, that is telling me this number that we just came up with of 47.83 cents, okay? A meal that costs that, you're walking out of the restaurant with $0 in your pocket. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? On how that graph is working for us? But why is it producing a line? How did I know it's going to be a line before I even graphed anything? What's the x-coordinate right there that should be in that bubble that I just drew above the C? It should be a 1, right? And any exponent, whenever you have an equation that the largest exponent is a 1, the graph is always going to be a line. So it's going to be linear. Okay? Continue to work on that assignment from yesterday, guys. That is due tonight. I think we've got enough examples there to help you through that. The plan for tomorrow is to go on to 4-6. 4-6 should be an easy plan. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bunch of ordered pairs, and then I'm going to ask you to take all the X's and make a list out of them. I'll take all the Y's and make a list out of them. And that's all we really do. Okay? So it's easy. It's easy. The plan for the next couple of days. So Friday we got kind of a shortened day with an assembly at the end of the day. Next Friday we've got a shortened day, short early release, and then we go on break. So we've got basically full day wise. We've got tomorrow and Thursday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the following week. What my goal is to have a chapter test this Friday, and I will shorten it, okay, because our time in class will be shortened by about 10 minutes. So I'll make sure that test can work, okay. Then the following week, we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, essentially. On that Thursday, actually the Friday, okay, because we'll have a half hour in class on that Friday. I'm going to have like a short quiz over those 4 days that we cover next week. Does that make sense? Okay, and then nothing over break, not to worry about anything over break. We'll come back and we'll finish up the chapter that we're on. So that's the plan if you're planning ahead. Yes. Okay, cool. If you end up needing more time on it, just let me know.